Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're really tackling India. I mean, it's an incredibly complex nation, right? Rapidly evolving and, well, frankly, a major global powerhouse. You
Absolutely.
see the news constantly,
Yeah.
but getting a real handle on its trajectory, its challenges, its huge potential, it can feel like trying to drink from a fire hose
It
sometimes.
really can.
That's exactly why we've dug into the articles, the research, all the insights you've provided us,
Mm.
and we're going to try and distill it all down, cut through the noise and give you the crucial understanding you need right now.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, our specific focus is going to be India under Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Right.
We're looking at his government's governance over the last, well, decade now, unpacking India's current global standing and also looking at the significant challenges it continues to navigate, both at home and abroad.
Okay.
Our mission, really, is to give you a concise but truly insightful understanding of this current landscape, all drawn from the material you've brought to the table.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We're looking at a pretty monumental period of governance here.
Yeah.
PM Modi and the BJP, they just returned to power in May 2024. That marks a full decade of, well, significant shifts.
A full decade, yeah.
Where has this government really focused its domestic agenda? What were the big moves they made that stand out in the sources we looked at?
Yeah, it truly has been an incredibly active decade on the domestic front. The sources definitely reveal a broad spectrum of government initiatives that have really reshaped things.
Mhm.
Let's maybe start with economic and structural reforms. A major one, and honestly a monumental shift, was implementing the goods and services tax, the GST.
Right, the GST, big change.
Huge. It aimed to simplify India's, let's be honest, notoriously complex indirect tax structure into one unified national market.
Mhm.
Alongside that, the Make in India initiative has been a really significant push, trying to boost domestic manufacturing, encouraging companies to produce goods in India rather than just importing
Get
them.
that manufacturing base humming.
Exactly. And this was kind of complemented by the ambitious expansion of digital infrastructure under Digital India, designed to make government services, information more accessible to everyone.
Okay.
And of course, you can't ignore the physical infrastructure projects. They're huge. Things like the high-speed rail networks, bullet trains, and the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway, all aiming to dramatically improve connectivity and, well, drive economic growth.
Those sound like really foundational changes, don't they? Designed to, transform the economy from the ground up.
They are foundational.
But beyond the big picture economics, what about the direct impact on everyday citizens? Were there specific welfare schemes that really hit home, according to the sources?
Oh, absolutely. These big economic shifts were definitely paired with several large-scale welfare programs designed to touch millions of lives directly.
Like what?
Well, Ujjwal Yojana, for instance, that focused on providing energy access, specifically clean cooking fuel, mainly to rural households, trying to replace those traditional polluting
Health
methods.
benefits there too, presumably.
Big time. Then there's Ayushman Bharat. That's a massive healthcare scheme providing health insurance coverage to vulnerable families.
So,
PM Kisan directly supports farmer incomes through cash transfers. That's a critical lifeline for the whole agricultural sector.
hmm
And the Swachh Bharat mission, the Clean India mission, that's been a huge push for better sanitation and cleanliness across the country, really aiming to change public health practices fundamentally.
Yeah.
These aren't just policies on paper, they're programs that have had a very direct, tangible impact on millions.
So it wasn't just about economy and welfare, but also seems like reinforcing national strength, independence. The materials highlight self-reliance and security as a major theme. What does that look like in practice?
Indeed, yeah. The Manirbar Bharat's initiative, which translates to a self-reliant India, that's been a core principle,
Yep.
especially with a strong focus on defense industry autonomy.
Building their own military hardware.
Essentially, yes. The goal is to reduce India's reliance on foreign defense imports and build its own manufacturing capabilities.
Right.
On the security front, the sources detail some pretty bold, decisive actions, like the 2016 surgical strikes and the 2019 Balakot airstrike.
I remember those making headlines.
They did. They were highly publicized responses to perceived threats, signaling a much more assertive, proactive stance on national security, both internally and, along its borders.
And this touches upon more sensitive areas too, doesn't it? Often quite contentious, like social and constitutional reforms. The sources mentioned some really significant shifts here that sparked considerable debate.
They absolutely do. I mean, one of the most talked about was the revocation of Article 370.
Right, for Jammu and Kashmir.
Exactly, removing its special status. The government framed it as a move to fully integrate the region into India, bring it under the same constitutional framework as other
This is
states.
controversial.
Very controversial. Critics, as noted in some of the materials, saw it as undermining regional autonomy, maybe even federalism. Then there was the ban on triple talaq, a practice allowing Muslim men to instantly divorce their wives. That was presented as a significant step for gender equality within the Muslim community.
Okay.
Then the Citizenship Amendment Act, the CAA, another piece of legislation designed to provide a path to citizenship for certain religious minorities fleeing persecution from neighboring countries.
That also caused huge protests, didn't it?
Huge protests, widespread debate over its exclusion of Muslim refugees and what it meant for India's secular identity. And most recently, there's the proposed Women's Reservation Bill, aims to reserve a significant percentage of seats for women in legislative bodies.
That could be transformative.
Potentially, yes, a move poised to dramatically alter political representation. It's crucial, I think, to understand these as reforms undertaken by the government, each with its own set of deeply felt implications and reactions across society.
India is also making waves in green energy leadership, which is, well, a vital global issue right now. That's not just domestic policy, it's global influence too, right?
That's spot on. India has truly been at the forefront there, spearheading the International Solar Alliance, for example.
Right, that global initiative.
Yeah, promoting solar energy globally. Domestically, there's been a massive drive to boost LED adoption for energy efficiency. Huge energy savings there. And notably, India crossed a big milestone in early 2025,
What was that?
achieving 100 gigawatts of solar capacity.
Wow, 100 JW.
Yeah. This rapid expansion in renewables clearly positions India as a major player in the global fight against climate change, a leader in sustainable development.
And finally, just quickly, the pandemic, a defining moment everywhere. How did India handle its pandemic response? What stands out there?
Well, India executed what was arguably the world's largest COVID-19 vaccination drive. They effectively used their digital platform, CoWIN, for registration, scheduling, tracking, the whole thing.
That platform was key, wasn't it?
It really was. And what's more, India played a critical global role, too, supplying vaccines to many nations, especially in the global south.
The pharmacy of the world.
Exactly. It really demonstrated its pharmaceutical manufacturing capabilities and its commitment to global health during a crisis.
Wow. Okay. When you lay it all out like that,
Yeah.
the sheer breadth and ambition of these initiatives is truly striking.
It is.
We're talking changes on a scale that would make, I don't know, many developed nations' heads spin. It's almost like trying to redesign a continent's entire operating system while it's still running.
That's a good analogy.
It paints a picture of a government attempting monumental transformation across incredibly diverse sectors: economy, social policy, global health. But the question is, how do these widespread initiatives actually translate into, on-the-ground impact according to the data? This is where it gets really insightful, I think. All these policies, all these initiatives, how do they translate into public sentiment? What do the materials truly reveal about PM Modi's popularity, both at home and internationally?
Yeah, the picture of public sentiment is quite compelling and, as you said, nuanced. On the global stage, the materials indicate PM Modi consistently ranks as the world's most trusted leader. We're talking approximately 75% to 78% global approval.
That's remarkably high internationally.
It is a very strong international endorsement. Reflects a perception, I suppose, of stable and effective leadership. Domestically, as of February 2025, there is an Ipsos Indiabus report showing him holding a 68% overall approval rating.
Still very high.
Very strong. And if you delve deeper into that, support is particularly high in northern India, an impressive 86%.
86%.
Yeah. And western India, 74%. Even Tier 1 cities show strong backing, coming in at 78%.
Okay, that sounds like overwhelming support. But the sources also highlight a crucial caveat, don't they? A significant regional disparity. What's that about?
You've picked up on a vital point there. While the national numbers are high, approval is markedly low in southern India. It's hovering around 32%.
32%. That's a huge difference.
It is. And it isn't just about different voting patterns. The sources suggest a deeper sense of disconnect, this regional political alienation, as it's termed.
Why? What drives that?
Well, it often seems to stem from perceptions around specific language policies that might favor Hindi, perhaps resource allocation seen as favoring certain regions, or even cultural narratives from the central government that just don't resonate universally in the South.
Hmm.
The key insight here is that while the North and West are driving this strong mandate, the South's significant dissent indicates a major fault line. That could complicate national consensus on future reforms, right?
Absolutely.
And maybe even challenge the BJP's long-term national expansion strategy. It's a powerful undercurrent. You can't ignore it.
That's a really important distinction. Highlights the complexities within such a diverse nation. So what are the primary drivers behind this widespread popularity in some regions? And equally, what are the common areas of criticism or concern that sort of balance that picture?
Well, the drivers of popularity are multifaceted, often connected to the initiatives we just discussed, actually.
Makes sense.
The Make in India push, for example, along with improved ease of doing business that seems to have resonated strongly with many. Fostering a sense of economic opportunity.
Hmm.
Signature cultural projects like the inauguration of Ayodhya's Ram Temple and those large-scale infrastructure and space achievements, they've also played a significant role, fostering national pride and support.
Tangible achievements people can see.
Exactly. And performance ratings in specific areas also contribute. Education is rated highly at 76%, sanitation at 67%, healthcare at 64%. These are areas where the public generally perceives strong delivery, tangible benefits.
But it's never all positive, is it? Especially in a country India's size. It's interesting how some persistent issues seem to cut across even the high-performing areas. Do your sources suggest why these challenges remain so stubborn despite such ambitious reforms? Where do the criticisms lie?
That's a crucial question, yeah. While the government scores high in certain areas, other vital issues get more moderate performance ratings, typically ranging from, say, 40% to 56%.
That kind of issues.
Persistent concerns about pollution, poverty, inflation, unemployment, corruption,
The big, tough ones.
the really big, tough ones. The sources suggest the stubbornness often lies in deep-seated structural issues and just the sheer scale of the population. Even massive programs can take time to show universal impact.
Right.
And beyond these performance metrics, there are ongoing criticisms. Economic inequality, many feel that hasn't been adequately addressed. Environmental issues continue to worsen in many urban areas. And there's domestic dissent that includes concerns about, well, authoritarianism, social fragmentation along religious or caste lines, and maybe trade rigidity in some quarters.
So areas where satisfaction isn't as high.
Exactly. These indicate areas where significant challenges remain and where public satisfaction is not as robust. It highlights a complex socio-political landscape beneath those headline approval numbers.
So we have this fascinating dual narrative. Widespread, strong support, particularly in specific regions and for certain initiatives, alongside significant regional disparities and persistent concerns in critical policy areas. It's a very complex yet telling picture of public sentiment. Now, let's shift our gaze outwards. India, with its vast ambitions and unique internal dynamics, certainly doesn't operate in a vacuum. How does it navigate the incredibly complex global landscape? What do the materials tell us about India's international relations, its diplomacy?
Yeah, India's position on the global stage is truly a masterclass in strategic autonomy and navigating complex relationships.
Not so.
Let's start with the United States. Relations have become somewhat strained recently, primarily due to India's continued purchases of Russian oil.
Oh, right, the sanctions context.
Exactly. The U.S. views that critically. This has actually prompted the U.S. to implement tariffs up to 50% on Indian goods effective, well, tomorrow, August 27th, 2025.
Wow, 50% tariffs starting tomorrow. That's major.
It is major. India, for its part, is pushing back diplomatically, emphasizing its strategic autonomy, insisting on its red lines in these negotiations, basically saying it will prioritize its own national interests.
So sticking to its guns despite the pressure.
Seems so. It's clear from the sources that Russia remains a key partner for India, especially in defense and energy. So this is a very, very delicate balancing act.
That's an incredibly delicate dance, especially with tariffs literally landing tomorrow. Does this suggest India's strategic autonomy has actual economic limits? Or is this just part of the negotiation game? What's the immediate impact expected?
Well, it's certainly a test of that strategic autonomy, isn't it? The immediate impact of these tariffs, according to the sources, is likely to be disruption in certain trade sectors. A potential increase in costs for Indian goods entering the U.S. market could affect export-oriented industries.
Yeah, you'd think so.
However, India's diplomatic pushback suggests a belief that these are maybe negotiable pressure tactics rather than an absolute limit. The government seems to be signaling it's prepared to absorb some economic pain to maintain its independent foreign policy stance.
A long-term strategic calculation, maybe?
Perhaps, rather than just short-term economic expediency.
Fascinating. And what about India's relationship with its giant neighbor, China? After those significant border clashes back in 2020, how are those ties evolving now?
Well, after the tense border standoffs, ties seem to be slowly but surely normalizing. It indicates a conscious effort to de-escalate and rebuild.
What does that look like?
We're seeing reinstatements of direct flights, journalist visas, cultural exchanges, plus new border patrol agreements designed to prevent future incidents.
Practical steps.
Yeah. And PM Modi is actually set to visit China for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the SCO summit, at the end of August. That's a significant diplomatic step. Signals a pragmatic approach to what is still a vital, albeit very complex, relationship.
And India is a crucial part of the Quad, isn't it? The quadrilateral security dialogue with the U.S., Japan, Australia. What's India's primary focus within that alliance?
India views the Quad as a vital forum for regional security, yes, but also economic cooperation. They particularly emphasize its role in things like critical minerals, supply chains, and ensuring Indo-Pacific stability.
So not just military.
No. While there's a security dimension, India emphasizes the broader collaboration too. Issues like climate change, infrastructure, technology, it's not just military alignment from their perspective. And Modi's upcoming visit to Japan just before that SCO summit also highlights the importance of these regional partnerships in reinforcing that Indo-Pacific strategy.
Okay. Beyond these major players, India obviously maintains relations with many other regions. What are some of the notable highlights for the materials regarding its broader diplomatic reach?
Yeah, India's diplomatic footprint is quite extensive. It's built cooperation with the Pacific Islands, for example, particularly with Fiji, focusing on shared challenges like health, climate resilience, maritime security. There are also growing strategic ties with Israel publicly supporting India's self-defense actions, including what's referred to in your materials as Operation Sindoor.
Operation Sindoor, what's that?
Well, the specifics aren't detailed in our sources, but the term itself suggests a focused, perhaps sensitive, security collaboration between the two nations. It highlights a deepening partnership there.
Interesting.
And consistently, India continues to assert itself as a leader of the global South within forums like BRICS and the G20, actively shaping multilateral discussions, agendas, and championing the concerns of developing nations.
It really does highlight India's intricate balancing act, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Navigating these complex relationships with global powers, asserting its strategic autonomy, leading within the global South. It's a truly dynamic and pivotal role on the world stage. Demands a real blend of pragmatism and ambition.
Absolutely, a very fine line to walk.
So what does this all mean when we put it together? Let's try and synthesize all this information we've just discussed. Get a clear picture of India's strengths and the key challenges it faces moving forward. What are the kind of profound takeaways from the materials you looked at?
Okay, yeah. Looking at the strengths, several profound points clearly emerge, I think. First, there's India's broad and deep development agenda.
We covered a lot there.
We did. The successful implementation of reforms across welfare, health, sanitation, infrastructure, defense, green energy. It showcases a government with a clear, ambitious vision, and importantly, the demonstrated capability to execute on a massive scale.
Right.
This isn't just about growth, it's about a foundational societal and economic transformation they're aiming for. Second, India's enhanced global standing. That seems undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
Through active participation in forums like the G20, BRICS, the Quad, leadership in global initiatives like the International Solar Alliance, India has truly cemented its place as a major international player, respected for its independent voice and growing influence. And third, the resilient public support is a significant strength. We talked about the strong domestic approval, especially in the North and West, and notably among women, plus that very high international approval for PM Modi. This robust mandate provides political stability, the ability to pursue long-term policy goals.
So strong internal action, external recognition, solid support base.
Yeah.
Those are key strengths. But every nation, especially one of India's size and complexity, faces significant hurdles, things that need addressing for sustained progress. What are the key challenges that remain?
The challenges are equally significant and complex. The first is that geopolitical balancing act we just touched on.
The tightrope walk.
Exactly. Tensions with the U.S. over tariffs, Russian oil purchases. Coupled with the complex navigation required between China and the US, it means India is constantly walking this tightrope on the global stage, requires highly skilled diplomacy to maintain strategic autonomy without alienating crucial partners.
Tricky.
Very. Secondly, there are those persistent regional divides. The notable lack of support in southern India, as we discussed, that complicates national consensus, could pose significant challenges for broader policy implementation, national unity in the long run. It's not just a political inconvenience, it's like a fault line in national identity. Then there are unresolved domestic issues, those persistent cold spots. Poverty, unemployment, environmental pollution, corruption, these continue to affect a large segment of the population, deeply ingrained problems that even ambitious reforms haven't fully addressed yet.
Still work to do there.
Lots of work. And finally, we have to acknowledge the ongoing domestic dissent. Criticisms regarding authoritarianism, social fragmentation, trade rigidity. These continue in certain segments of society. This dissent, while it might not be eroding overall approval, highlights areas of societal tension that could impact long-term stability and social cohesion.
This really brings the full picture into focus, doesn't it?
Hmm.
We've seen a decade of profound transformation under the Modi government, leading to substantial approval both at home and abroad. But as you've laid out, this progress is occurring within a framework of complex internal fault lines and an increasingly intricate, sometimes contentious, geopolitical landscape. It truly highlights the nuanced reality of a nation of India's scale, balancing rapid development with immense internal diversity and global pressures.
Yeah.
It's a truly complex dance, and frankly, one that most nations would struggle to choreograph, let alone perform on such a vast and diverse stage.
Yeah.
This has been a truly comprehensive deep dive. Took us from the intricacies of India's domestic policies, those ambitious reforms, through the nuanced picture of public sentiment, approval ratings, and finally into its high-stakes international diplomacy. We've really covered a vast amount of ground and, I think, gleaned a rich understanding from the materials you've provided.
Definitely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, perhaps it raises an important question for you, the listener.
Yeah.
How does India's unique path balancing this rapid internal development with diverse domestic demands and a complex web of global relationships? How does that influence the future of the multilateral world order?
Can a nation so committed to strategic autonomy truly help shape a more interconnected multilateral world? Or does its path perhaps hint at a more fragmented future? That's a powerful thought to leave with. It really encourages you to consider the broader implications of India's choices on the global stage. Perhaps you might want to explore the long-term impact of that women's reservation bill on India's political landscape, or maybe delve deeper into the immediate and sustained implications of those upcoming U.S. tariffs we mentioned.
Lots to think about.
Definitely. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.